Thank you, Madam Speaker and members, and here it is, the one you have been waiting for. And I want you to know I pared it down.
Your speech.
For 6 years, I've been attempting, crusading, if you will, to make civics education more important and relevant in Minnesota. Some argue why. It's doing just fine. Is it? Look at what's going on all around us. The failure of civics is evident. The National Association of Education Progress, NAEP, the highly respected nation's report card, attests that in the 8th grade, the knowledge level in civics flatlines. In Minnesota, it is mostly taught in 9th grade. Seniors have graduated at 23% proficiency. In other words, 77% are failing in attainment of civics knowledge. This is bad, but the gap between white and BIPOC students is even worse. Former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor stated, "We are facing a crisis in civics education." The National College Board asserts that the most important skills correlated with success in college are computer science and the United States Constitution. And we are sending constitutional illiterates to college and other pursuits. 77% of Americans between 18 and 34 can't name even one of their U.S. senators. 2/3 of Americans can name at least one judge on American Idol. 15% can name the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. 2/3 of Americans can name only one branch of our government. 1/3 can't name any. Former Senator Larry Pressler, as a college professor, commented about high school civics. They're not learning it there, it isn't being taught. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, no nation is permitted to live in ignorance with impunity. He also asked, what is the reason for education? His answer, to carry on the republic. We have been in civics slide to failure for 50 years. Why? The focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, has pushed out civics and history. Now, it's important to have STEM, but it comes at a cost. The feds send $50 a student a year for STEM and a nickel a student a year for civics. Local school boards, I understand, face challenges in balancing curricula. When taught effectively, civics can equip students with the knowledge and dispositions necessary to become informed and engaged citizens. Former 8th Judicial Judge Mike Thompson said, "For our society to survive, it is important that our citizens understand the basic concepts of our Constitution and government." Civics instruction in Minnesota is inconsistent. It varies by the amount of time allocated for instruction, whether it is taught as a separate course or embedded in another social studies course. And in what grade? 9 to 12 grades students receive civics instruction. Students who take civics in 9th grade may never take another civics course. So, what am I trying to do? It's simple, really. My amendment says that civics must be offered as a course to credit for juniors or seniors. I've done many modifications and compromises with this bill over the years. I've diligently tried to address concerns. And while he's not quite made the changes needed to achieve the success we need, I do appreciate that Chair Davnie has recognized my efforts, even to the extent of urging the Standards Review Committee to do benchmarks in civics for juniors or seniors. Thank you for that. But it still doesn't require that civics be taught to juniors and seniors. I might add that when I was first elected, the first committee I went to was Education Finance, and that was 19 years ago. I walked in that day, and who did I sit down next to? Representative Davnie. He was giving me advice then, and he's been giving me advice off and on all through my career of 19 years. And sometimes I even follow it. By making civics credit-bearing, it raises its relevance and ensures that it be taught. By teaching it to juniors and seniors, we are reaching young adults who are about ready to vote and take their place in our society. 9th graders aren't interested so much in politics and government. They have other interests. Voting seems a lifetime away, and the NAEP scores confirm it. Now, I have listened to a lot of objections. I got about a page and a half, but you know what? I'm not going to do that one. Just that I have considered and I have answers for objections to this, and we could always talk later about that. There is still a lot of flexibility for our local school boards. And regarding any mandates, we are mandated by the state of Minnesota to require that fundamental knowledge be taught. It should also be learned. Since when is it a mandate to fulfill our constitutional responsibility as legislators to ensure that our schools are teaching what they are supposed to teach, when not doing so puts our republic at peril? Another concern is that this doesn't do anything for poor or disadvantaged students. On the contrary, the opposite is true. Civics education is critical to strengthening democracy and transforming students' knowledge about history into practice. What is gained by effectively teaching civics? We narrow the opportunity gap. We increase participation in our democracy. We empower minorities. We learn how to achieve ends by using our Constitution. Now, I appreciate that Representative Richardson recognized this by including my bill in not only her education policy bill, but in her racial justice proposals. So I thank her. I would also like to thank Chair Joachim, who included this in her education policy bill 2 years ago. And along those lines, I would also like to thank Representative Erickson, who included this in her policy bill 4 years ago. I think maybe we're finally reaching a conclusion. We have a civics opportunity gap in our country. Through effective civics instruction, Avriel Kelly, a black public school teacher, asserts, civics programs improve and promote the voices of black and Latinx students in low-income areas. Now they live in a civics desert devoid of opportunities. Now, I've got some questions for you. I'm kind of wrapping up with these. Why have we minimized civics in our public schools in Minnesota? Why have we made it difficult to give our children even a glimpse of how to run the government before it's their turn to run the government? Why have we kept all this largely unknowable by our progeny for the last 50 years? Why have we even refused to discuss this discard? Why did we do this, which the experience of the last 50 years has already told us is as close to a guarantee of chaos as one can get, and to continue to do it even as I talk to you today? The results are obvious. To do nothing is to extend 50 years of failure and reward ignorance. It's time, members. Time to reclaim what our founders cherished, the knowledge essential to effectively govern. I repeat, what we are doing today isn't working. We are failing our children. Civics and history education has eroded in the U.S. over the past 50 years, and opportunities to learn these subjects are inequitably distributed. Dangerously low proportions of the public understand and trust our democratic institutions. When this discussion is over, I want you to remember a few things. Ninth graders aren't ready to learn civics. Civics is not credit-bearing in Minnesota as a course. And most importantly, whatever we are doing isn't working very well. Friends, we are failing on our responsibility to mold the next generation of participants in our democracy, and it is a crisis. I want that thought above all others to sear into your memories. What we're doing now needs to change, and we're failing those upon whom we depend for our future. A high-quality civics education teaches students how to participate in civic life and enables them to learn from their experiences. Strengthening democracy is an interest we should all share in common. This is about the young child in a rundown neighborhood looking for something better, not understanding that their government can work to make that happen and not knowing how to make it real. Majorities are functionally illiterate on our constitutional principles and forms. The relative neglect of civic education in the past half-century, a period of wrenching change, is one important cause of our civic and political dysfunction. We can do something today for all Minnesotans. We can change the future. We can foster understanding and cooperation, and we can make this state a better place. What I'm asking might seem like a simple change, but the potential impact is life-changing. Please vote yes.